if you indeed are not able to assess your reality objectively, then objectively, when you're offered an opportunity, you're going to mess it up. And that's okay because it's part of the learning process. I don't believe in such, there's no such thing as if you miss the train, you miss all the trains. In some situations, yes, that's true. But most of the time, it's not. You can recreate situations, you can recreate opportunities. You've got to be, again, the word resilience, and you got to be determined, right? As Keisha is saying, sadly, some people then stay looking forward. Sadly, some people then stay looking backwards. It's a fine balance. True, it is a fine balance. I agree, and that's why the reason why you might stay backwards is because, well, I can only look at myself and my personal experience when it comes to doubts. We all have doubts in life. We all do. Nobody's perfect. Nobody came with the science in them. It doesn't exist. And you may have come with a certain setting that makes you a little bit more advantaged compared to other people because of just how nature built you and afforded you the capacity to probably switch gear and get things done in a more proactive way, and again move forward as you solidify things along the way. But when you look backwards, sometimes you start realizing, first of all, well, how much steps you've done so far, right? And along the way, because along those steps that you've walked, along this long path, this long journey you've walked, you have lacked the capacity, or you've failed to really look deep into every step of the way, understanding how you manage to move from one position to another. And that happens when you are too much about forwardedness and you're always looking, okay, next. Yes, but what have you acquired as far as knowledge from that experience right now? Where are you at? Where are you at right now in this space? You see, I think that this is where the conversation is, at least for me, where you've got to be able to almost take, well, not almost, you've got to really intentionally make it an importance of the highest level to just take a moment and really analyze your position, analyze where you're going, where you came from, and where you are, right? And as much as this may sound to be very obvious, again, we can get stuck in a loop. For example, you could be, let me think about something. Okay, jealousy. So, in the world we live in, since I guess the beginning of times until now, jealousy exists. Whether you want it or not, it's not about what you want or don't want. It's just that it is what it is. And if you want to fight against that, you are literally going to be fighting and pushing against forces that are really, 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 really strong. So the point that I'm trying to make here is this. If you give jealousy of people around you, or envy, or whatever you may qualify, something that causes you to be worried or to feel doubtful or to just feel a certain way, that then leads you to no longer move out of fear to be judged or to be considered this or that, or just to be judged. Yeah, you now have created a memory inside your system, a memory and a thought that is crystallized there somewhere at the back of your head, in your subconscious mind somewhere. And then this means that everything that you're going to start doing will be masked. You will start wearing um, the cloth of somebody that you're not, because you don't want to be judged, and you start then lacking naturel. You're no longer giving yourself a chance to fail. And it is indeed uncomfortable, highly uncomfortable, to be seen failing. But even more than that, to accept that you failed, or to accept that you've made a mistake, or whatever the case might be. Thing is, the deeper issue here, if you dwell too much with the problem, and if you get overwhelmed by the situation that you've just experienced, and then start deciding subconsciously that this situation, this error, this hurdle along the way defines you, then that's when you're messing up your business for yourself. Because an error does not define you. However, what will define you is what you make of that given situation. And I've said that before, but I will keep on repeating it, because as much as we know these things, we need to repeat it to ourselves. You're not defined by the successes or the errors that you make. You're defined by your capacity to take stock of everything and humbly analyze it, all these accomplishments, because to fail means that you've tried. You may have not tried hard enough. You may, whatever the reasons to your so-called failure may be, the simple fact that you have tried, that you have dared to move towards the 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 the, the, the the reaching of a goal that you've given to yourself, that you set for yourself, whether it be exams, whether it be succeeding at this, or passing your driving test lessons, or whatever the case. I'll give you another example, right? A friend of mine would say, look, every time I would I have to pass my driving lesson, I would just black out pretty much. She would just forget everything and start panicking. But it's interesting, because I was starting to analyze. I said, but what makes you think that you can't drive? And well, when we started to talk, and I said, look deeper, try to think, try to meditate a moment, take a moment, and try to understand why every time you grab the wheel with the monitor next to you, the teacher, or the driving, the lady next to you is giving you the driving lesson. Why is it that you freeze, and you can't control that situation, that emotional situation you're in, to the point where, again, you physically seems to be impaired completely. All your senses are clouded. And well, as subtle as it is, it seems like, she had some sort of an experience with, like, some car accident that, even she didn't have that experience, but somebody she knew had a terrible accident, and for some reason she got it did well. As we were speaking about it, she was like, oh, this might have been a reason. I probably have started nourishing an idea that is negative. And so every time, because she was, I have no issues being next to somebody driving, and she only realized that when she was having to drive the car, right, grab the wheels, and as she was going through those lessons. And it was very interesting that it felt like a breakthrough, because something that did not belong to her reality, she had never experienced her personally an accident per se, but somebody she knew had an accident, and it was traumatic enough for her in her mind to project herself in that friend's reality, that she made that reality hers, when it's not even her reality in the first place. And that's the thing. A lot of the time, we take for granted. We take other people's experiences. Not saying that it's bad, but we take other people's experiences as ours. When you're too empathic, when you care, and there's nothing wrong in being empathic and caring for people, of course. I'm the number one to be caring and trying to understand why people feel a certain way. Well, um, what I'm not doing, however, is taking somebody's reality for me. If you are going through a tough time, um, and I can provide, if you ask me my advices or my help, and I think I can provide some sort of advices, some sort of contribution to you finding a way out of wherever you are and however you feel right now, I'll do that. But the thing is, you can have 1,000 people speaking to you. If you don't believe it deep inside, yeah, you will move, because you will feel the peer pressure of people starting to feel like, okay, well, like, dude, I've been giving you advices now that I think have worked for a lot of people. I've seen people talk about this is the way to come out of this and that situation. It's not necessarily applicable to everybody, but based upon the way I know you, like, if you really were to try, it could work out. So don't set yourself short. Like, come on, let's go. But because the person eventually, as even if they believe you and they start doing it because they're following you and your lead, deep inside they've not decided for themselves. They've not decided that they truly and absolutely want to go that way, simply because they don't believe it in them. You believe it. You believe in it for them. You believe in that solution for them. Therefore, out of respect or out of the fact that they love you, or they're motivated by you, they try, right? And then when they realize that, oh snap, this pathway that you've given me is not for me, automatically they start feeling like, oh, because it's not for me, then I'm not worthy of anything. Yeah, but who says that? You just because, okay, we've tried this way, you've realized it's not for you. Cool. Assess the situation, fine tune the way you can go about, maybe changing gear, slowing down a little bit, and observing how much progress you've made thus far. And based on that, you can say that, okay, from this point to that point, the way you suggested me worked out, but from the location we are finding ourselves in right now, I think I can take control. Okay, cool. Go ahead. That's the whole point. Because I can't be the crutch on which you rely to continue, finding the capacity to walk. Eventually, going to have to start walking on your 2 feet and move according to the principles that guide and motivate and activate you emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, etc., etc., etc. So, ultimately, belief in yourself is easier said than done. You got to believe in yourself, but it's a vague, vague word. Emery Agnon, comment ça va? What do you do? What do you do? Welcome, everyone. Welcome to all the Boddhists watching right now, the Shada gang, Papa Keisha, everyone indeed. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you don't forget to press the like button for the show. Very important. Feel free to jump into the conversation. We are talking about doubts and the syndrome of imposter, the imposter syndrome, and also the issue that lies in the fact that a lot of people crystallize certain perception of themselves that are usually negative, and they try to cover it up with a coat and several layers of super confidence, when deep inside you start scratching and shaking a few things left and right. You'll see very quickly that it's the house of cards, and it collapses rather fast. Character building is not something that happens overnight. Skills get acquired. As a child, as a baby, you're born, you learn to crawl, then, eventually you start, stumbling here and there. Mountain of inspiration, comment ça va? Welcome, welcome, welcome indeed. Thank you very much, King. Appreciate that. Indeed, indeed, indeed. And as you evolve eventually from uh, all of these different steps that then allow you to start moving and then developing a sense of yourself in the world, and then starting to develop a consciousness that allows you to then think about the purpose in life, etc., etc. Whatever the questions might be, existential, identity, etc., etc. Whatever the case may be, we all have gone through these phases in our lives, one way or the other. You have to come to the conclusion that along the way, it was a learning process. For some, and for everybody, it's a hard learning process. It's not easy. And you may be protected by your family, or you may be exposed, as a matter of fact, for most people, to a lot of insecurities from the fact from just being at home with unstable parents, or siblings or uncles or whatever the case may be. Whatever the conditions of your life may have been, you have had to build a character. You've had to assess situations and learn how to move, develop certain skill set, and develop also certain limitations as you had to prioritize based on the urgency you find yourself in. And a lot of the time in this life we are in, we compartmentalize and we prioritize, because of course it's hard to take on all of the challenges that come along the way and face you, right? You got to tackle every situation one at a time. But sometimes, as they say, when one problem occurs, it's like a trail of issues. And it's true, there are phases in life, when everything you do doesn't work out, or no matter what you do, better yet, there seems to be just failed attempts, you know, and this discouraging, of course. But I mean, we are all humans. The problem is when you start making a situation external to you, something that defines you. As I've said earlier, what defines you is your capacity to observe deeply, truly, sincerely, but in a non-destructive way, where you are, and understand that you may not have the clues right now, but sleep on it, give it some time, do something else, try to obsess less about the problem and let the solutions come to you. There's if you want to talk about this in a more spiritual form, there's we tend to say, well, at least in Africa, I guess, Christians and Muslims and every religion actually will have different ways of saying that, what I'm about to say. But basically, don't be so audacious and so ego driven that you think you can resolve every problem in your life. I am not saying that you should leave a situation to just be resolved by some sort of sentient being that will appear in your life and just, by a snap of a finger, resolve every problem. It doesn't work like that necessarily. However, merci, Mountains of Inspiration. Merci beaucoup. Sisi, that's a sweater by my good friends, my good brothers. Art Comes First. You can actually get it on their website, artcomesfirst.com. And yeah, they have so many beautiful things. Man, big shout out to Sam and Shaka, and also Ama from Marché Noir, as always, supporting the family. So yeah, here we are indeed. Glad you're feeling it. Rocking this nice little vibe. what was I saying? Um, yes. So there's not going to be any sentient being appearing into your life now and resolving the problem that you're going through, or some of the problems you might be going through. However, there's a point in life where you have got to surrender, not surrender to defeat or anything like that, but understand that there's only so much you can do on your own. And it's okay, because the truth of the matter is that if you really think sincerely, deeply about what it is that you're going through, and if you've come to the realization that this, among all of the things that you're experiencing, that you are experiencing, one or two of these matters you can't handle them, or it's out of your capacity, we say leave it to God. Leave God, leave the universe, leave the guides, leave the angels, leave it to, that's their part. That's their part. You do you. You do your part, which is the thing that you can handle and you can do. There's certain things that are beyond your control, and you've got to humble yourself and say, hey, guys, if you're out there, which I believe you are, please take this for me. Because there's only so much I can take right now.